Have you ever noticed how a simple black thread tied around the right wrist can carry ancient secrets that modern psychology is only beginning to uncover? Carl Jung, the revolutionary Swiss psychoanalyst, saw in this ancient symbol a key to unlocking the deepest mysteries of the human psyche. But why specifically the right wrist? Why does the black color awaken something so primal within our soul? And how can this small object open spiritual connections that our rational mind never imagined? For decades, Jung explored the universal archetypes that live in our collective unconscious and found that the black thread is far more than a superstition or amulet. It is a direct portal to the hidden layers of our consciousness, representing invisible bonds that shape our destiny. In this video, we'll uncover the 8 fundamental secrets that Jung discovered about this ancient practice. You'll learn why your right wrist is considered the gateway to your inner power, how the black color activates psychological mechanisms that can transform your life, and the practical steps to awaken this natural psychic protection that already exists within you. From the mystery of the dominant hand in Jungian psychology to the rituals that great spiritual masters used in silence, you're about to discover a complete system of personal transformation that bridges ancient wisdom with modern psychological science. What you're about to learn could revolutionize your understanding of spiritual protection and unlock potentials you never knew existed within you. 1. The mystery of the right wrist, according to Jung. Your right wrist holds secrets that go far beyond what meets the eye. When Jung first studied ancient protection rituals, he noticed something fascinating. Almost every culture that used threads for spiritual purposes chose the right side of the body. This wasn't random. There's a deep psychological reason why this specific location became the universal choice for spiritual connection. The right side of your body connects directly to the left hemisphere of your brain, the part responsible for logic, action, and conscious decision-making. When you place a black thread here, you're creating a bridge between the spiritual world and your everyday reality. Jung discovered that this placement activates what he called the active principle, your ability to manifest thoughts into real-world results. Think about everything you do with your right hand throughout the day. You write, you touch, you create, you work. Every movement carries energy, and when that energy flows through a black thread, it becomes charged with protective intention. Jung believed this constant contact with your dominant hand creates a feedback loop between your conscious mind and your deeper spiritual awareness. The wrist itself is incredibly significant in ancient wisdom. It's where your pulse beats strongest, where your life force is most visible. Traditional healers knew that this spot connects directly to your heart's rhythm and your body's energy flow. When Jung studied these connections, he found that the right wrist acts like a spiritual antenna, picking up and transmitting energy between different levels of consciousness. But there's something even more powerful happening here. Your right wrist is also connected to your solar plexus chakra through energy pathways that ancient traditions mapped thousands of years ago. This energy center governs your personal power, confidence, and ability to take action in the world. By placing a black thread at this exact location, you're amplifying these natural qualities while adding a layer of spiritual protection. Jung noticed that people who wore protective threads on their right wrist reported feeling more grounded and centered in their daily activities. They described a sense of being plugged in to something larger than themselves, while still maintaining full control over their conscious choices. This balance between spiritual connection and practical action became a cornerstone of Jung's understanding of healthy psychological development. The physical act of tying something around your right wrist also creates what Jung called a ritual anchor. Every time you look down and see that black thread, your subconscious mind remembers your intention for protection and spiritual growth. It becomes a constant reminder that you're connected to forces beyond the ordinary world, while keeping you focused on taking real action in your daily life. Modern neuroscience has actually confirmed many of Jung's observations about the right side of the body. We now know that the left brain hemisphere, which controls your right hand, is also responsible for interpreting symbols and creating meaning from experiences. When you combine this natural meaning-making ability with the symbolic power of a black thread, you create a perfect storm of psychological transformation. The right wrist placement also ensures that your protective thread stays active during all your most important daily activities. Unlike threads worn on the left wrist, which connect more to receiving and intuition, the right side keeps your spiritual protection engaged while you're actively creating your reality. Jung saw this as essential for people who wanted to grow spiritually without losing their effectiveness in the practical world. 2. Why black color awakens your inner shadow. The color black has a power that goes straight to the deepest parts of your mind, awakening aspects of yourself that usually stay hidden in the shadows. Jung spent years studying why black holds such mysterious influence over human psychology, and what he discovered will change how you see this simple color forever. Black is not the absence of light, it's the presence of all possibilities. When light hits a black surface, that surface absorbs every wavelength, every color, every frequency of energy. In the same way, when you wear black thread on your wrist, you're symbolically absorbing all the scattered parts of yourself back into wholeness. Jung called this process shadow integration, and it's one of the most powerful tools for personal growth. Your shadow isn't something evil or dark that you need to fear. It's simply the parts of your personality that you've learned to hide or suppress because they didn't seem acceptable to others. Maybe it's your anger, your wild creativity, your deep sensitivity, or your fierce independence. These qualities get pushed down into your unconscious mind, where they continue to influence your life in ways you don't even realize. When you choose to wear a black thread, you're making a statement to your unconscious mind that you're ready to reclaim these hidden parts of yourself. The color black acts like a magnet, drawing up suppressed energy and emotions so they can be acknowledged and integrated into your conscious personality. This process isn't always comfortable, but it's incredibly healing and empowering. Jung discovered that people who avoided dealing with their shadow often felt incomplete, like something was missing from their lives. They might be successful on the outside but feel empty or restless inside. The black thread serves as a daily reminder to embrace all aspects of yourself, not just the parts that others find acceptable or comfortable. The psychological impact of wearing black is immediate and profound. Black absorbs negative energy from your environment while reflecting your own inner strength back to you. It creates what Jung described as a protective cocoon around your energy field, allowing you to move through the world without taking on other people's emotions and problems as your own. Traditional cultures understood this power of black long before modern psychology existed. Shamans, healers, and spiritual protectors often wore black to maintain their energetic boundaries while working with intense spiritual forces. They knew that black doesn't just protect you from external negativity, it also helps you access the powerful, primal parts of yourself that civilization teaches you to suppress. The black thread becomes a symbol of your commitment to wholeness. Every time you see it on your wrist, your unconscious mind receives the message that you accept all parts of yourself. This acceptance is incredibly liberating because it stops the internal war between who you think you should be and who you really are. When this inner conflict ends, enormous amounts of energy become available for creating the life you actually want. Jung also found that black helps activate what he called the wise destroyer archetype within your psyche. This isn't about destruction for its own sake, but about the wisdom to let go of what no longer serves you. The black thread reminds you that sometimes you need to destroy old patterns, relationships, or beliefs to make room for new growth and transformation. The color black also connects you to the fertile darkness of the unconscious mind, where all creativity and intuition are born. Just like seeds must grow in dark soil before reaching the light, your deepest insights and innovations emerge from the black depths of your inner world. Wearing black thread keeps this creative channel open and flowing. By the way, if you're curious to go even deeper and integrate your shadows and light, check out the Seum Method ebook. It's a concise guide that can help you unlock your inner power in just 5 minutes a day. The link is in the first pinned comment below. 3. The thread that connects you to the collective unconscious. Deep beneath your everyday thoughts lies an ocean of shared human experience that Jung called the collective unconscious. This invisible realm contains all the wisdom, fears, dreams, and patterns that connect every person who has ever lived. The black thread on your right wrist becomes your personal connection to this vast source of human knowledge and power. Imagine your mind like an iceberg. The tip above water represents your conscious thoughts, what you're aware of right now. Below the surface lies your personal unconscious, filled with forgotten memories and suppressed experiences. But at the deepest level sits something much more profound, the collective unconscious that links you to the entire human family across time and space. When you tie that black thread around your wrist, you're not just wearing a piece of fabric. You're activating an ancient communication system that our ancestors used to stay connected to universal wisdom. Jung discovered that certain symbols and rituals act like keys that unlock access to this deeper level of consciousness, and the protective thread is one of the most powerful keys ever developed. The thread itself represents continuity, an unbroken line that stretches back through generations of human experience. Every time someone has tied a protective thread around their wrist, they've added their energy and intention to this invisible network of connection. When you participate in this ritual, you're not alone. You're joining millions of people across cultures and centuries who have used this same method to access guidance and protection. This connection works through what Jung called synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that seem to happen more frequently when you're aligned with deeper patterns of existence. People who wear the black thread often report experiencing more synchronicities in their daily lives. They meet the right person at exactly the right moment, find solutions to problems in unexpected places, or receive guidance through dreams and intuitive insights. The collective unconscious communicates through symbols, and the black thread serves as both a transmitter and receiver of symbolic information. Your unconscious mind constantly scans your environment for meaningful patterns and connections. When it recognizes the thread as a symbol of spiritual protection, it begins to attract experiences and opportunities that support your growth and safety. Jung believed that modern life often cuts us off from this deeper source of wisdom. We become so focused on individual achievement and rational thinking that we lose touch with the collective intelligence that could guide and support us. The black thread serves as a reminder to stay open to guidance that comes from beyond your personal mind. The physical sensation of the thread against your skin also creates a subtle but constant reminder of your connection to something greater. Throughout the day, as you move and work and interact with others, that gentle pressure on your wrist keeps part of your awareness tuned to the deeper currents of existence. You start to notice patterns and connections that you might have missed otherwise. This connection to the collective unconscious doesn't make you passive or dependent on external forces. Instead, it gives you access to a vast library of human wisdom that can inform your decisions and actions. When you face challenges or difficult choices, you can draw on the accumulated experience of countless people who have faced similar situations before you. The black color of the thread is especially important for this connection because black absorbs and holds energy. Just as the thread absorbs the wisdom and protective intentions of everyone who has used this practice before, it also absorbs your own experiences and adds them to the collective pool. You become both a receiver and contributor to this ancient network of spiritual protection. Jung also discovered that the collective unconscious becomes more accessible during times of transition or crisis. When your normal way of thinking isn't sufficient to handle what you're facing, your mind naturally reaches deeper for guidance and wisdom. The black thread helps facilitate this process by keeping you consciously connected to levels of awareness that might otherwise remain dormant. The thread creates what Jung described as a sacred marriage between your individual consciousness and the universal patterns that guide human evolution. This marriage doesn't diminish your uniqueness or personal power. Instead, it amplifies your natural abilities by connecting them to the infinite creative potential that exists within the collective human spirit. 4. How to activate your natural psychic protection. Your mind already possesses incredible protective abilities that most people never learn to access. Jung discovered that every human being is born with natural psychic defenses, but modern life often leaves these abilities dormant and undeveloped. The black thread serves as a simple but powerful tool to wake up and strengthen these innate protective powers. Think of your psychic protection like an immune system for your energy and emotions. Just as your body automatically fights off physical threats, your mind has built-in mechanisms to protect you from harmful spiritual and emotional influences. The problem is that these natural defenses often go unrecognized and unused, leaving you vulnerable to negative energy from other people and environments. The first step in activating your protection is understanding that your thoughts and intentions have real power. When you consciously choose to wear the black thread as a symbol of protection, you're not just hoping for good luck. You're directing your mental energy toward creating an actual barrier against harmful influences. Jung called this active imagination, and it's one of the most practical applications of psychological knowledge. Your right wrist becomes the control center for this protective system. Every time you touch or notice the thread throughout the day, you're reinforcing your intention to stay safe and centered. This constant reinforcement gradually builds what Jung described as a psychological fortress around your energy field. The more consistently you maintain this intention, the stronger and more automatic your protection becomes. The black thread also works by changing your energetic vibration. Everything in the universe vibrates at different frequencies, including your thoughts, emotions, and spiritual energy. Negative influences, whether they come from toxic people, stressful environments, or your own self-doubt, vibrate at lower frequencies. The black thread helps raise your vibration to a level where these harmful influences simply cannot attach to you. This process happens gradually but consistently. In the first few days of wearing the thread, you might notice subtle changes in how you feel around certain people or in specific locations. Situations that used to drain your energy might feel more manageable. Conversations with negative people might bounce off you instead of sticking in your mind for hours afterward. Jung discovered that psychic protection works best when it's combined with practical awareness. The thread doesn't make you invulnerable to all problems. It makes you more sensitive to potential threats so you can avoid or handle them more effectively. You might find yourself instinctively avoiding certain people or places, or feeling guided to leave situations that aren't good for you. The protective power also extends to your dreams and sleep. Many people report sleeping more peacefully and having fewer nightmares after they start wearing the black thread. Jung believed that we're most vulnerable to negative influences when our conscious defenses are relaxed during sleep. The thread continues working even when you're not awake, maintaining a protective barrier around your energy field throughout the night. Your natural psychic protection also includes the ability to sense other people's true intentions and emotions. The black thread helps develop this intuitive sensitivity without making you absorb other people's problems as your own. You become like a spiritual mirror that reflects negative energy back to its source while maintaining your own emotional stability and clarity. The key to making this protection work is consistency and belief in your own power. The thread is not a magic charm that works without your participation. It's a tool that helps focus and amplify abilities you already possess. The more you trust in your natural protective capabilities, the stronger and more reliable they become. Jung also emphasized that true psychic protection includes protecting others when possible. As your own defenses grow stronger, you naturally begin to create a protective field that extends to people you care about. Your family members, close friends, and even co-workers might notice feeling more positive and stable when they spend time around you. 5. The secrets of the dominant hand in psychology. Your dominant hand carries more power than you could ever imagine. Jung spent years studying how the hand you use for writing, creating, and taking action connects directly to the deepest levels of your personality and spiritual potential. When you understand these secrets, the simple act of wearing a black thread on your right wrist becomes a gateway to transformation. The hand you naturally favor isn't just a physical preference. It's a window into how your entire nervous system processes energy and information. For most people, the right hand connects to the left side of the brain, which controls logic, language, and conscious decision-making. But Jung discovered that the dominant hand also serves as the primary channel through which your inner world expresses itself in physical reality. Every movement of your dominant hand carries intention and energy. When you write, your thoughts flow through your hand onto paper. When you reach out to touch someone, you're transmitting your emotional energy through your fingertips. When you create something with your hands, you're literally pulling ideas from the invisible realm of imagination into the physical world, where others can see and experience them. The wrist of your dominant hand becomes especially important because it's where all this creative and expressive energy must pass through. Think of it like the neck of a bottle. Everything that flows from your inner world to the outer world must move through this narrow channel. When you place a black thread at this exact location, you're influencing every action you take and every creation you bring into being. Jung noticed that people often ignore the psychological significance of their hands, treating them as simple tools for manipulation and work. But traditional healing systems understood that the hands are actually sophisticated energy transmitters that can both give and receive spiritual information. The dominant hand is particularly powerful because it's your primary tool for manifesting your will in the physical world. The right wrist also connects to what Jung called your persona, the face you show to the world and the role you play in society. Unlike the left side, which relates more to your inner emotional life, the right side governs how you present yourself and take action in your relationships and career. The black thread influences this presentation by adding an element of mystery and spiritual awareness to your public persona. When you wear the thread on your dominant wrist, you're also affecting your relationship with power and authority. The right side of the body traditionally represents masculine energy, not in terms of gender, but in terms of active, assertive, goal-oriented qualities. The black thread helps balance this energy by adding receptivity and wisdom, creating what Jung described as the perfect union of strength and intuition. Your dominant hand is also where you hold tools, weapons, and instruments of creation. Throughout history, warriors blessed their sword hands, artists consecrated their painting hands, and healers empowered their healing hands through ritual and intention. The black thread continues this ancient tradition by constantly blessing and protecting the hand through which you shape your reality. The psychological impact extends to your confidence and self-expression. Many people report feeling more assertive and clear about their boundaries after wearing the black thread on their dominant wrist. They find it easier to say no to requests that don't serve them, and yes to opportunities that align with their deeper purpose. The thread seems to strengthen their connection to their authentic will and desire. Jung also discovered that the dominant hand plays a crucial role in what he called active imagination, the process of deliberately engaging with unconscious material to promote healing and growth. When you write, draw, or create with conscious intention while wearing the protective thread, you're creating a direct channel between your unconscious wisdom and your conscious expression. The thread placement also affects your relationship with time and productivity. The dominant hand is constantly engaged in the work of daily life, and the black thread serves as a reminder that even mundane activities can be infused with spiritual purpose and protection. Washing dishes, typing emails, or signing documents all become opportunities to reinforce your connection to deeper meaning and intention. Modern research in neuroscience has confirmed many of Jung's observations about hand dominance and brain function. We now know that the neural pathways connecting your dominant hand to your brain are thicker and more developed than those serving your non-dominant side. This means that influences affecting your dominant hand have a more direct and powerful impact on your overall mental and emotional state. The black thread essentially turns your dominant hand into a constant prayer or meditation in motion. Every gesture becomes an affirmation of your spiritual protection and conscious intention to create positive change in your life and the lives of others around you. 6. The science behind protection symbols. Modern science is finally catching up to what ancient wisdom keepers always knew. Symbols have measurable effects on your brain, nervous system, and overall well-being. Jung was ahead of his time in recognizing that protective symbols like the black thread work through specific psychological and neurological mechanisms that can be studied and understood. When your eyes see a symbol that your mind recognizes as protective, your brain immediately begins a complex series of responses. The visual cortex processes the image and sends signals to the limbic system, which controls emotions and memories. If you've consciously designated the black thread as a symbol of protection, seeing it triggers the release of neurotransmitters associated with calm, confidence, and mental clarity. This process happens faster than conscious thought. Before you're even aware of noticing the thread on your wrist, your nervous system has already begun shifting into a more protected and centered state. Jung called this unconscious perception, and modern neuroscience has confirmed that we process symbolic information at speeds far beyond our conscious awareness. The power of protective symbols also works through what researchers call embodied cognition, the idea that physical objects and sensations directly influence mental and emotional states. The weight and texture of the thread against your skin creates what Jung described as a somatic anchor for your protective intentions. Your body literally remembers the feeling of being protected every time the thread touches your wrist. Repetition strengthens these neural pathways exponentially. Each time you see or feel the black thread, the protective response becomes faster and more automatic. After weeks or months of consistent wearing, the mere thought of your thread can trigger feelings of safety and centeredness, even when you're not physically wearing it. Jung recognized this as evidence that symbols become integrated into the structure of the psyche itself. The color black adds another layer of scientific validity to the protective process. Research in color psychology has shown that black creates measurable changes in brainwave patterns, typically increasing alpha waves associated with relaxed alertness and decreased beta waves linked to anxiety and overthinking. The thread literally helps regulate your mental state at the neurological level. Quantum physics has also provided insights into how protective symbols might work beyond the boundaries of individual psychology. Some researchers suggest that consciousness and intention can influence quantum fields in ways that affect probability and synchronicity. While this area of study is still developing, Jung's concept of synchronicity seems to align with emerging understanding of how consciousness interacts with physical reality. The placement on the wrist is scientifically significant because of the concentration of nerve endings and pressure points in this area. Traditional Chinese medicine and Indian Ayurveda both recognize the wrists as important energy centers that influence the flow of vital force throughout the body. The black thread creates gentle, constant pressure on these points, potentially affecting your overall energy and well-being through purely physical mechanisms. Studies in placebo research have also illuminated how belief and expectation create real physiological changes. When you genuinely believe that the black thread provides protection, your immune system actually becomes stronger, your stress hormones decrease, and your pain tolerance increases. The thread works partly because your mind expects it to work, and expectation has been proven to create measurable biological changes. Social psychology research reveals another dimension of how protective symbols function. When other people see you wearing the black thread, they unconsciously perceive you as someone who takes spirituality seriously and has strong personal boundaries. This perception influences how they interact with you, often with more respect and less tendency to take advantage or create drama. The thread changes not just your internal state, but also your social environment. Jung was particularly interested in what he called psychological contagion, the way symbols and emotional states spread from person to person through unconscious communication. When you feel protected and centered because of your black thread, that emotional state radiates outward and influences everyone around you. Your calm confidence becomes contagious, creating a more positive atmosphere wherever you go. The ritual aspect of tying the thread also activates what researchers call implementation intention, a psychological mechanism that dramatically increases the likelihood of following through on goals and commitments. The physical act of putting on the thread creates a stronger neural commitment to your protective intentions than simply thinking about protection or wanting to feel safer. Brain imaging studies have shown that engaging with meaningful symbols activates the same neural networks involved in spiritual and religious experiences. The black thread essentially gives you access to the psychological benefits of spiritual practice without requiring specific religious beliefs or complex rituals. It's a scientifically validated method for accessing states of consciousness associated with wisdom, peace, and inner strength. The simple black thread wrapped around your right wrist represents something far greater than ancient superstition or wishful thinking. It embodies the profound truth that Jung spent his life revealing. We are not separate, isolated beings struggling alone against an indifferent universe. Instead, we are deeply interconnected with invisible forces of wisdom, protection, and transformation that await our conscious participation. When you choose to honor this connection through the humble ritual of wearing a protective thread, you're not just following tradition, you're awakening to the reality that your individual consciousness is part of something infinitely larger and more powerful than you ever imagined. In that awakening lies the secret to living with genuine confidence, authentic power, and the unshakable knowing that you are held, guided, and protected by the very fabric of existence itself.